So this lesson is on writing and graphing linear equations. In this lesson, we're going to start with graphing. When we graph, we need to know two things: the slope and the y-intercept. When we have slope, we're going to go to the slope-intercept form, so y equals mx plus b. So you can see that the m is the number in front of the x, the coefficient of x. So our m in this case is 3. We're going to go ahead and write as 3 over 1. And then b is that number, the constant. So in this case, it's negative 2. So the slope here tells me how much I'm going to rise over how much I'm going to run. That's what this really equals. And the b you want to think of as the beginning point. That's where we start. Always beginning on the y-axis. So here is my y, here's my x. So always starting here, we're going to begin on negative 2. And from here, we're going to rise 3, and we're going to run 1. So we rise 1, 2, 3, run 1. We can do it again. We can rise 1, 2, 3, run 1. And what you should get is a straight line that goes through this. And pardon me, I'm not using a straight edge. But you can keep going with that rise 3, run 1, rise 3, run 1, all the way up this. So when we graph, sometimes when we graph, we have a slightly different issue. This one, you're like, well, what's the slope and the y-intercept? Well, remember that an x equals line is going to be a vertical line. So here, if this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis, we can count to 1, 2, 3, 4. That is going to be a graph that looks just like this right here. And so this right here, remember, would have the slope that we would say is undefined. I gave you guys the idea that that's like Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff, and he's got undefined guts here. And then the y-intercept, where does this cross the y-axis? Well, it never does, so we would say none. You can compare that to like a y equals 4 line, which would be like right up here, where we would cross the y-axis here at 4, and it would have no slope or 0 slope. So this is your x equals 4 line. When you write the equation of a line, you still just need to know your slope and your y-intercept. In this case, in the problem, we're told that the slope is 1/2. We don't know the y-intercept. So what you need is your slope-intercept form. So that would be y equals mx plus b. And they did give me a point, which that could be an x and that could be the y I could plug in temporarily while I plug in a slope of 1/2. So up here, y is 6. The m is 1/2 times the x here is 2. And that allows me to solve for b. So 6 equals half of 2 is 1 plus b. Subtract 1 from both sides. When I do, 6 minus 1 is 5. 1 cancels here. If you need to see that step, there it is. And so b equals 5. And so now I've got b equals 5 and slope equals 1/2. So going back to this equation, I'm going to plug the slope in and the b in, the y-intercept. So y equals, my slope is 1/2 x plus my b, which is 5. Or in this particular equation, we only have that it passes through 2 points. So what we need to do is we need to first find out what slope is using the slope formula. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's say that this is x and this is y, and this is x and this is y. This is the first order pair. This is the second order pair. So now we can plug it in. So y2 here is 7 minus y1 is 10. Over x2 here we have it marked as 3 minus x1 we have marked as 4. And now we simplify this. 7 minus 10 is negative 3 over 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Negative 3 divided by negative 1 is 3. So I finally got that the slope is 3, but we don't know what the b is. That's the other piece of information we need. So let's go back to the slope-intercept form of an equation. And I'm going to go ahead and just pick one of these. And you know what? I'm going to pick this point right here because it's smaller in numbers. But there's no, either one would work. So I'm going to use this as my x and this is my y in the equation. So y is getting replaced with 7 equals my slope here I found to be 3 times the x here is 3 plus b. And now we solve. So 7 equals 9 plus b. Subtract 9 from both sides. And we have 7 minus 9 is negative 2 equals b. So we throw it all back into this equation. Y equals the m we found is 3, x, the b we found is minus 2. And there's your equation of the line.